Thank you for joining us today to review the Orange Line Transit Neighborhood Plan, or OLTNP. In an effort to make information on the project more accessible to a wide array of stakeholders, we have developed a video series to provide information on each component of the plan. This video covers the OLTNP's proposed mobility updates. Para obtener esta presentación en español, por favor, visite nuestro sitio web y haga clic en el botón Español. In this video, we will be reviewing the proposed OLTNP mobility updates, including background information on the mobility element of the general plan, methodology used for determining the scope of proposed updates, examples of proposed street redesignations and enhanced network updates, and additional resources that stakeholders can use to learn more information about this component of the plan. To learn more background information about the plan, or proposed land use and zoning around the Van Nuys, Sepulveda, and North Hollywood stations, please watch the videos prepared on these topics found on this page. In addition to this video series, visit our website to view the draft plan, fact sheets, an interactive searchable land use and zoning map, and more. Let's begin with some background information about the city's mobility plan, street designations, and enhanced transportation network maps. The city's Mobility Plan 2035, an element of the city's general plan, outlines a comprehensive vision and policy foundation for the city's transportation system that balances the needs of all users and mobility goals. The mobility plan does not authorize or implement any roadway or transit projects, but rather establishes a vision and parameters for future implementation. These goals define the city's high-level mobility priorities, which include safety first, focusing on safety, education, and enforcement. Access for all Angelenos, increasing access through greater community connections. World-class infrastructure, investing in the construction of complete street networks. Collaboration, communications, and informed choices, using open data and information to inform future policy considerations. Clean environment and healthy communities, tackling issues related to the overall health and sustainability of Los Angeles neighborhoods. Adopted in 2015, the plan has been amended by community plan updates and transit neighborhood plans to reflect local priorities and goals identified during these localized planning efforts. In alignment with this approach, the OLTNP team has evaluated and proposed updates to current street designations and enhanced transportation networks that are assigned by the city's mobility plan within the plan area. The city's circulation system maps establish designated street classification for every street in the city. These street designations are used to define different types of streets and establish standard dimensions for each type of designation. These designations establish the total amount of right-of-way that is used for sidewalks, travel lanes, medians, and other features that might exist. To use the example on this slide, an Avenue 1 designation calls for a total right-of-way width of 100 feet, with 15-foot sidewalks and 35 feet for travel lanes in each direction. Some streets may not currently meet the dimensions that their designations call for. However, through dedications and improvements over time, streets can be brought into alignment with these requirements. The OLTNP is proposing to apply new street designations to a limited number of streets in the plan area in an effort to increase sidewalk width, responding to existing and planned infrastructure projects, and maximizing safety for all users. The Mobility Plan 2035 includes enhanced network maps, which identify priorities for different modes of mobility, such as walking, cycling, and transit, on streets throughout the city. The enhanced networks shown on these maps identify which streets might best serve the needs of different non-auto users, and each enhanced network contains a set of improvements that should be made to optimize that mode of transportation. For example, streets included on the bicycle enhanced network are targeted for enhanced bike infrastructure, including protected bike lanes, while streets included on the pedestrian enhanced district map are eligible to receive improvements aimed at improving pedestrian safety and comfort, such as signalized crossings, curb bulb outs, and wayfinding signage. As with street designations, community and transit neighborhood plans present opportunities to update enhanced networks within the plan area. The OLTNP has proposed several such changes to the enhanced networks found within the plan's boundaries. We will now move on to discuss the methodology and the conditions that were considered when identifying the OLTNP's proposed mobility updates. One factor that the OLTNP team considered when evaluating potential amendments to the enhanced network maps in the plan area is whether or not the maps reflect existing conditions. If a street features enhanced transportation infrastructure but is not included on an enhanced network map to reflect those conditions, the team recommended adding those streets to the appropriate enhanced network map. For example, currently the enhanced network map does not reflect an existing bike lane on Burbank Boulevard from Hazeltine to Kester, as shown on this slide. The OLTNP is proposing to add this segment to the Bicycle Lane Network, or BLN, to reflect this existing condition. A second factor that was considered when identifying proposed updates to the enhanced transportation networks was identifying and closing gaps in existing enhanced network maps. Where network gaps were identified, the OLTNP team considered if it was appropriate to connect the network. The example on this slide shows that there is a 2-block gap in the Pedestrian Enhanced District, or PED, along Hazeltine Avenue. After analyzing existing conditions in this area, the team has suggested adding this segment to the Pedestrian Enhanced District network in order to connect the existing segments on Victory Boulevard to the north and south along Hazeltine. A third component of the methodology used to determine the proposed mobility updates is identifying street segments where multiple enhanced networks are present. In some instances, having multiple networks on a street can be beneficial. A street with sufficient right-of-way to accommodate both a bike lane and high-capacity transit, for example, could be well suited to be identified as both bike and transit-enhanced networks. However, there are also instances where having multiple networks present on a single street segment can cause issues and confusion, or just be redundant and unnecessary. The example on this slide shows a segment of Burbank Boulevard in North Hollywood that is proposed to be added to the Bicycle Enhanced Network. However, 2 blocks of this segment are currently also on the neighborhood enhanced network in order to ensure that there are no spatial conflicts when creating the bike lane and to eliminate redundancies that could arise from being on two enhanced networks. The OLTMP team is proposing to remove the neighborhood enhanced network from these two blocks. The OLTMP is not proposing to remove any enhanced networks from streets without replacement, as one of the goals of the project's mobility updates is to grow and strengthen the network in order to promote walking, biking, and the use of transit in the plan area. A fourth factor in determining proposed mobility updates in the plan is the presence of transit, both existing and planned. As a transit-oriented plan, the OLTNP's mobility updates aim to promote the use of transit by creating better, safer, more comfortable connections to and from transit stops within the plan area. In addition to existing transit infrastructure in the plan area, including dedicated high-frequency bus lanes on Sepulveda Boulevard, the Metro Orange G Line Bus Rapid Transit, or BRT line, and the Metro B Line subway in North Hollywood, there are several planned or under construction transit investments underway, which will further enhance the transit orientation of the area. These investments include improvements and targeted grade separation of the Metro Orange G Line, as shown on the image on the left of this slide. The planned NoHo to Pasadena BRT project, as shown in the center image, and the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail project, which will run along Van Nuys Boulevard and provide a rail connection between the North Valley and the Orange G Line Van Nuys station. The OLTNP team looked to ensure enhanced networks connect to these transit projects in order to promote greater transit use and more comfortable and safer connections. The final factor considered when determining proposed mobility updates is the high injury network. 6% of the city's streets account for 70% of all deaths and severe injuries for pedestrians and cyclists. These streets are collectively identified as the high injury network. In the OLTNP area, stretches of Sepulveda, Victory, Van Nuys, Oxnard, Burbank, and Lancashire are included on the high injury network. The OLTNP team considered the high injury network when recommending updates to street designations and mobility enhanced networks, particularly pedestrian enhanced districts, bicycle enhanced networks, and street redesignations aimed at achieving wider sidewalks. Following consideration of these factors, the OLTNP team drafted recommendations and updates to the mobility enhanced networks and street designations, and met with city and county partners, including city planning mobility staff, LA County Metro, LA Department of Transportation, and the LA Bureau of Engineering to review proposed updates. Now we'll go over one example of a proposed enhanced network update. For a comprehensive list of proposed mobility updates contained in the OLTNP, please visit planning.lacity.gov/OLTNP and click on the Draft Plan Materials tab. Currently, there is a pedestrian enhanced district along Vineland Avenue in North Hollywood. However, it stops at Magnolia Boulevard and does not reach the transit, pedestrian, and bicycle networks that converge at the intersection of Lancashire, Camarillo, and Vineland. This area is expected to see an increase in pedestrian activity due to the future NoHo to Pasadena BRT line, Additionally, this section of North Hollywood has also experienced a flurry of new residential development, which is only anticipated to increase in coming years. In response to this network gap and anticipated future pedestrian activity, the OLTMP is proposing to extend the pedestrian enhanced district on Vineland from Magnolia to Camarillo. Doing so will facilitate pedestrian improvements such as enhanced sidewalks, public seating areas, wayfinding signage, and street lighting on this corridor. We'll now provide an example of a proposed street redesignation in the OLTNP. As with the enhanced network changes, a comprehensive list of proposed street redesignations contained in the plan can be found by visiting planning.lacity.gov/OLTNP and clicking on the Draft Plan Materials tab. An exciting transit project coming to the Northeast Valley is the East San Fernando Valley Light Rail. Metro is building a new 6.7-mile light rail line with 11 stations along Van Nuys Boulevard, connecting the G Line Van Nuys Station to San Fernando Road. The top image on this slide shows the existing conditions on Van Nuys Boulevard at Sylvan Street, and the bottom image shows a rendering of what this intersection will look like once the light rail project is complete. The light rail will operate in the center median of Van Nuys Boulevard. In order to accommodate the light rail, Metro has determined that street parking will need to be removed on both sides of the street. With the removal of street parking, there will be one less barrier between the traffic on the street and pedestrians on the sidewalk, creating an uncomfortable and potentially unsafe walking environment on a segment of a street that is already on the high injury network. In response, the OLTNP team is proposing to redesignate Van Nuys Boulevard between Van Owen Street and the Van Nuys G Line station in order to get wider sidewalks that can handle increased pedestrian traffic and potentially accommodate more street trees. Van Nuys Boulevard is designated as a Boulevard 2 in the mobility plan. The requirements for this designation, as well as existing conditions and the proposed conditions following redesignation, are shown on the table on this slide. While the sidewalk requirement for this designation is 15 feet, currently the sidewalk width is as low as 6 feet in some locations. To offer wider sidewalks, the team is proposing a street designation that would call for 20-foot sidewalks on the corridor. Additional sidewalk width would come from dedications of private property as redevelopment occurs along Van Nuys Boulevard, and the curb-to-curb width of the street would remain unchanged. We will conclude this presentation with information on where to find a comprehensive list of proposed updates and more information on the city's mobility plan. The examples presented in this video do not reflect the entire catalog of OLTNP updates proposed to the mobility plan. For more information on the OLTNP's proposed mobility updates and the city's Mobility Plan 2035, please visit our website, planning.lacity.gov/OLTNP. This concludes the OLTNP Mobility Element Updates presentation. To see the full OLTNP video series, please click on the links on this page. These videos include background information, including how the Citywide Housing Incentive Program and other state legislation are impacting the plan, and the zoning and land use strategy for the Van Nuys, Sepulveda, and North Hollywood station area.